Welcome to the Cosmic Cafe show, where the paranormal is normal. My name is Eric Brown, and I'll be your host and server. For today's daily special at the cafe, we are brewing up the question of what is causing those frightful paranormal events and hauntings of Alameda's famous USS Hornet. It's felt to be the most haunted warship in history. So what is going on with this aircraft carrier? Why are more paranormal events happening on this ship than other warships? Is it even safe anymore to go into the dark inner cavities of this famous ship? To help us answer these questions today is Mrs. Jennifer Hosel, who has been deeply involved with solving these questions and researching these bone-chilling haunting and paranormal events for over 5 years now. Welcome to the cafe, Jenny.
Thank you, Eric.
No handshake, huh?
Oh,
thank you for coming by.
No, thanks for having me.
So, tell me a little bit about what you've been there 5 years.
Sure. Yeah, I am the tech manager for Alameda Paranormal Researchers.
Okay.
And we are the home-based team for the USS Hornet. We help with a lot of their history events and their paranormal investigations, and we use it for fundraising for their for the ship and for the education department on the ship.
Wow.
So I'm involved with a lot of different programs through the ship, and I do a lot of the technology stuff for our team as well.
And I think you brought some slides and also some videos for us, and we'll share those with the audience soon.
Yeah.
And I think maybe you can tell me when, we have one video maybe we should lead in with that would kind of get people up to speed with why it's so haunted or what's going on.
Well, it's a great example of some of the evidence that we've collected during our investigations.
Okay.
And this particular one was, I believe, caught in sick bay.
Oh.
And it's a ship that never had any children, women on it when it was active duty, but yet the voice that's captured is that of a little girl.
Oh.
And it's a Class A EVP. And it's just a very interesting, kind of strange thing to have happen.
Wow.
So nobody heard it when they were discussing and actually having the event occur. Nobody heard the voice when they played back on the recorder. It's very clear. So we can go ahead and roll the clip, and hopefully you guys can hear it as well.
Okay, we'll see if they can roll the video clip for us.
I don't think that's very clear.
Are they running the wrong clip?
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, this is the one.
So basically what was going on is we were in a sick bay, and I was teaching the group how to use the recorder in the investigation. So I'm like, okay, so you want to hold in your hand, basically tell them they can talk to you through this, okay?
Ask anybody who wants to communicate with you to talk to you through this, because sometimes you have to let them know that this is the way. Yeah.
Okay. All right, if you'd like to speak to us.
This is the way. Yeah.
Okay. All right, if you'd like to speak to us. All right, if you'd like to speak to us.
Can you see us?
I think they can see us. So if you can see us, can you see Brian over here in the doorway wearing that navy issue hat?
Oh.
You're in trouble.
Oh man, he's getting
I don't want that.
He's getting real chewy.
Wow.
So those are a couple of clips, actually, of some of the stuff that we've collected. There's a lot of activity on the ship. That one voice, it was pretty clear, and it wasn't one of the people there. We don't usually have children that are very young that are part of the paranormal tours. And then the second one was one of our meters, which measures certain types of electrical magnetic fields, as well as other different data that it collects. And when you ask certain questions, you ask it to light up to give a response, and it seems to indicate that it's responding or that it seems to interact. And so we've got so many different pieces of evidence from being on that ship in all parts of it. And that's one of the great things about the Hornet, is that any time of day, night, when you're with your grandparents, your sons, your daughters, people have reported having strange occurrences happen. They see people in uniform. Sometimes it's a huge ship, and people get lost, and they're not sure where they are, and they'll be directed by somebody in a naval uniform, they'll go back to the staff and say, hey, thanks, I'm glad that was really cool. And turns out there's nobody walking around in naval uniform that helps with
I just
the
got
ship.
goosebumps.
I know, it's
Wow.
pretty intense, some of the things that people have seen.
Oh
and
my gosh.
It's a great ship. It really is.
Yeah, wow. So that, I guess that it kind of answered, I was, kind of asking, why is it, often called the most haunted ship in, in history, or at least in the military? And I think you're kind of explained it right there, huh?
Well, it tends to have a lot of activity. And I think we've wondered why that is, because why would it have, more stuff occur?
Yeah.
But in addition to being the ship and having been in battles, and it's also a museum, a living museum. It has relics from Vietnam War. It has all kinds of stuff for prisoners of war, several different exhibits from different periods of time with lots of history attached to them, and maybe more attached than what we necessarily would consider just looking at the artifact. There may be some sort of energy behind it, and that's what we tend to try to measure when we're investigating.
Right, right. Wow. I just had kind of like an off-the-wall thought.
Oh, sure.
The meter, I'm still thinking of that thing blinking there.
Yes.
And of course, I don't know, maybe just for the skeptics out there, how would a skeptic know that that's actually picking up something and it's not somebody with just a remote control making it go off? I mean,
and that's a great question. In theory, it could be, but we know from our experience with our meters, and we encourage people to bring their own meters and use whatever equipment that they have, and go in and experience it for themselves.
Oh.
And different meters that people bring in that we've never seen, it doesn't matter what it is, it tends to occur. There are things that will naturally cause a meter to light up, cell phone activity, things of that sort. So we're very careful to make sure people all put their cell phones in airplane mode. When you're down in the ship, not on the top level, there's no cell phone signal anyway. So it wouldn't be a cell phone from that perspective. So you try to rule out all the other natural explanations for whatever the meter's picking up. And once you've ruled out everything naturally, who can explain it? It's just this kind of cool thing, especially when you're asking a specific question. Can you make that meter light up 3 times in a row to give me the yes answer? And it does it 3 times in a row. And,
wow.
Or can you, there's another clip we'll show later on, doing Morse code, asking for Morse code to try to do it, and it coincides with what Morse code would be for certain things. And so there's some very interesting phenomena that occurs. I'm personally very much a skeptic, and so it's, for me, I like to see the evidence, and we've gotten so much of it on the ship. It's been really a great place to go.
Well, I think that's one reason why I have you on the cafe today, is because you're very level-headed and very skeptical, so you want to make sure you bring the right information. And I know from what I was reading about it, I was astonished to find out that I guess the Hornet has one of the highest suicide rates ever recorded on any ship or a military ship. Is that right?
Yeah, they've had quite a number of suicides, and I think it had to do somewhat with the different tours of duty and things. And then additionally, there's been a couple deaths on the ship since it's been out of active duty. People who worked on the ship, and there have been some passings. So there's people who really loved it. There's a strange, it's hard to explain. When you're on the ship, you just kind of connect with it. And if you're a history buff and you see how much of an amazing piece of history it is, it's almost impossible not to have some type of emotional connection. So I would think that if people were involved with the ship and had been on the ship for a long time, if they're suddenly deceased, there's probably some type of energy still there. And so for whatever reason it is, we seem to have a lot of people or a lot of entities that we reach out to that give us some sort of instrument activity or some type of an EVP or something to give us, interaction, we'll call it.
Right, yeah. Well, I'm kind of going off script here as far as the questions. I know we had some questions for you, and but I keep having this idea in my head of, is the ship maybe manufactured out of some special alloy, or something was added to it, or I'm just wondering about was there a method to it that maybe because it was, I understand this particular ship was commissioned back during World War II. Was it 43, I think? And I'm just wondering, maybe they used metal that, you know, because metal was being used, you know,
Sure.
scarce and stuff. So I'm wondering, is there some, maybe is that what's making it?
Well, and there's several different theories about it. A couple of things are just the fact that it's on the water. For whatever reason, people seem to find hauntings, or whatever they are, near water. And for whatever reason, water is a good conductor of different things, and it seems to be able to conduct energy pretty well.
Sure.
So there's that side of it. But in addition, as I had said before, that it's a museum, and it's also a bit of a well, it's robbed the ship graveyards, if you will, because it's a piece of history, and it's funded, you know, by the government and by donors and everything else.
Sure.
So you get little bits and pieces of other deceased ships that are all kind of put together in this one ship. And so different repairs that have been made are made by other pieces of steel from the hull of something else that, you know, sank at one point. Or so there's all these little, it's a conglomeration of a bunch of different pieces. And, you know, it's kind of a Frankenstein, if you will. So
I wasn't going to use that word. I was thinking that, though.
we talk about the paranormal and spooky Frankenstein.
Yeah, this is true.
But it kind of is a bit of a Frankenstein ship, and it's just a way to keep costs down and stuff. You have to go out and manufacture new parts. We'd never be able to support the ship. As it is, it's an expensive ship to support, which is part of why we do the work that we do, because we love it so much and want it to be around for kids and adults for years and years and years to come.
Right.
You know, but by taking parts from other ships and doing things secondhand, if you will, it's a great way to save money and keep the ship in good repair.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of adds a little something to the story of the ship itself.
I think I'm going to just throw away my my list of questions here, everybody, because the teleprompter doesn't need to worry about watching it anymore. I just thought of another question that's, sorry, it's just not here. You know, it's like I might as well just throw it away, right? I should throw away the other half.
That's right.
The, you know, bringing in all these parts and pieces, like you say, and, you know, kind of making the Frankenstein ship.
Sure.
I'm thinking now, okay, this is getting pretty exciting, and I'm really excited to go back and tour and stuff. And I'm just thinking, for people that are watching that have never been on the Hornet before and have thought about, you know, maybe going, they live local or they're on vacation to here in the Bay Area. What is the, I mean, I'm sure you know, is there a percentage of likelihood that they might actually see or hear something there? I
mean, people see and hear things a lot. And that's one of the things that I would say, if you go to visit the Hornet, you happen to be there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, darn, you can't be there at night for a ghost tour because you've got, you know, kids or something else going on.
Sure.
Go in the middle of the day, check stuff out, look in sick bay, bring a recorder with you. Ask a couple questions, see if you get a response. You have no idea what you'll find. People get reports all the time, weekly, if not daily. The docents and people will hear about experiences that people have, just strange things, being touched, you know, just interesting feelings that they get in certain areas. Some people believe themselves to be sensitive, and they'll, you know, interact with different entities on the ship. So from that perspective, I mean, go any time of day and any time you can.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's good to know.
Yeah.
You don't have to like wait for a special time of year like October or Halloween.
There's a ton of opportunities around Halloween. You know, the ship, we have extra events and things where we try to bring in the public and have people go for actual ghost hunts where we will bring our equipment and you can bring your equipment. We'll train you to use the equipment and you can learn to be a ghost hunter, so to speak.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
you guys actually teach that?
We do. We help. You know, it's not like a school or we're not going to say, oh, you're doing that wrong. We'll show you how to use different pieces and then say, here, you try it. You know, see what you can find and let people experience it for themselves. You know, but we have flashlight tours several times a month. They're huge involvement with the Boy Scouts. So a lot of the Boy Scout troops sleep overnight on the ship, and some of them have had some weird stuff happen. You know,
I can't imagine. I was a Boy Scout.
I know. Can you imagine in the middle of the night something strange happening in one of your sleepover? I mean, it just, yeah. So there have been some Boy Scouts that have gotten scared, and you know, things have happened. You know, and then we also have all kinds of other different types of events. We put on paranormal conferences there. We've actually raised about $30,000 for the ship over the course of the past few years doing paranormal conferences and things like that. It all goes to the education department to help bring more people in and reach out and allow other people to really understand why we love it. It's such a great ship.
Well, you know, I think we should probably, if they have the other video ready, I think it's probably, you know, people probably want to learn more about it. So if they can go ahead and start that, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Or not.
Or not.
There we go. So go ahead and tell us about what we're seeing here, because there's no audio.
Okay. And this one's the Morse code experiment that I was telling you about. They were asking for a particular question, and it was giving us a response in Morse code, which, you know, is one of those cool things that you can't find in most other paranormal locations.
Oh, I see.
If you like Zach Baggins, can you turn the light off? Oh. Zach Baggins. Oh my God. Oh. Do you guys want to communicate through Morse code with us?
Wow.
Yeah. And so that,
goodness.
The Hornet has been on a show called Ghost Adventures that had somebody named Zach Baggins on it. And so that we asked during this Morse code experiment, do you like Zach Baggins? And I think it said yes, I don't remember. But yeah, so there's a ton of interaction in ways that, you know, it's a unique place, and we get unique data from it. It's just such a cool place to go.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really
no
neat.
kidding.
Yeah.
I need to go up there and
Highly
be part of one of
recommend
those. You'll invite me up, right?
I'd be happy to,
There you
bring.
go.
I'll bring you around the ship myself, and I'll show you some of the hot spots.
Oh, awesome, awesome. I think with my orange shirt, you know, maybe I'll make it up during Halloween and fit in perfect, right?
That would be perfect. Yep, yep. Yeah.
Oh, well, the wardrobe department.
They may not let you take the shirt out, but you know.
They can keep it. So I think you also brought some slides too that we can also talk about, and these aren't necessarily paranormal events that are all related to the Hornet. Is that correct?
Right. These are all actually non-Hornet locations that are different parts of the country, Ohio, and a couple of different other places. Just some interesting stuff that people have found and sent to us and said these are some phenomena that occur. You know, everybody's looking for that evidence, some type of proof that there's something else out there, and these are some images and things that we found that kind of made us go, that's kind of, I can see where you're coming from. You know, that might be something paranormal, something we can explain. So these are some interesting.
Would you say these the slides or the images we're going to be showing here soon are kind of like what somebody might expect to see on the Hornet, but these just happen to be lucky captures in other locations?
In other locations. And then this is some of the types of things that we've been able to get on the Hornet as well. And just everybody can get anywhere. You know, if you're looking for this stuff and you're taking pictures and you're in a historic location and you're actively trying to interact with the history that's there, you never know when it's going to be ready to react and interact with you. So, you know, I encourage people when they go anywhere, Hornet, especially on the Hornet, because that's my favorite place.
Sure, of course. It sounds like it's a hot spot.
Yes, and, you know, try to take the pictures, try to interact, do what you can. And, you know, if you find stuff, tell people, show people, let them look at it, see what they think, and try to come together as a community and sort of find out what's good, see if we can explain some stuff that definitely isn't paranormal, you know, and then
let's
see
go ahead
what's
and bring
left.
up slide 1.
Sure.
If they got that ready. I think they do. I think they.
Yes. So this is from a building in Ohio, actually, and this was taken next to an elevator where there was a man who was decapitated on it.
Oh.
And the area that's circled on there, you can sort of see the image of a face, which you know actually resembles the person who had been decapitated on that spot. And so that was kind of an eerie shot that somebody had gotten on an investigation that they did in that location.
And I guess I should mention that these photos have all been authenticated as to not being Photoshop frauds or something.
Absolutely, yes.
So, okay.
Yeah.
All right, super. Do you want to bring up the next slide then?
Sure. The next slide is it's another type of image where there could be a type of a face. It appears there might be a face in the back seat of the car, and it's hard to tell from certain angles. And that's, you know, on a slide, but up close it looks a little more defined. So it's another image where this particular location had had all kinds of other activities, EVPs, strange noises, voices, that type of stuff, and there was a picture that seemed to have something in it as well.
Wow. Yeah, that it kind of looked like a blonde lady to me.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. People see it in different ways and notice different parts of it. You know, I try not to tell people this is what, you know, but that's totally okay, because that's what I want to hear, what they think it looks like. Because, you know,
okay.
someone, it's like looking at clouds. Someone may see a puppy, someone may see a blonde lady, who knows? So
Well, if I spoiled it for our viewers at home.
yeah, well, that's totally okay. They'll have their own idea.
Exactly.
You know, who knows?
Yeah, exactly. So we have another slide.
Yeah.
The third slide, I believe.
And this is a fantastic location. This is Landell's Mohican Castle. It's a resort type place in Ohio. And as you can tell on the road, there's some kind of look like ghostly, sort of foggy images.
Yeah.
And this is a place that had a graveyard that had been dug up and moved to a different location. And
What?
Yes, and it was not done by request of anybody. It was done in malice at the
Oh my
time.
gosh.
Some people were trying to get revenge for a church that had been not speaking in their language, and they felt like they were ostracized, so they dug up the graveyard and moved it somewhere else.
And then
so
they built this resort on top of it.
Well, in a nearby area, yes. And so there's all that unrest there, and
Oh,
the image
gosh.
itself, you know, you can kind of see some type of mist going, so who knows?
To me, it kind of looks like the ghost is searching around for his gravesite.
Well, it could very well be. Exactly.
Where'd my gravesite go?
Yeah. Hey, wait a second. I was laying right there. What the heck?
Well, that would disturb me.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. So who knows?
Yeah, exactly. I guess that could kind of account for why ghosts stick around.
Yeah, and that's just it.
Various reasons.
It's the history of the place. Who knows what the stories are behind it?
And what was the next slide?
Slide 6 was another one that
the
I
one with
thought
the
was,
ladder. I think,
yeah, and
oh.
that one.
Oh, they got the other one. That's
There's a shadow in the back of that one that you can kind of see past the door that was interesting, and there weren't people in that area, which is why
I see it now.
you know it kind of was a bit of an anomaly, and so it's hard to explain the shadows from the cameras and stuff. It would be tough to duplicate it. They tried to duplicate it and they weren't able to.
You're talking about like through
the
threshold.
doorway, through
Yeah,
the
where
threshold of the doorway
it
on the
looks like
right-hand
somebody's-
side, it looks like there's somebody standing there, but there
Yeah.
weren't any people in that area. There was one person, and the lighting doesn't seem like that's a full shadow cast all the way over there. It seems like it's a solid mass off in the distance.
It kind of looks to me like somebody's walking and part of their coattails like flaring out or something.
Yeah, yeah.
To me, so. Oh, I probably ruined it for the viewers at home
that's
again.
okay. Let them get. Everybody gets to have their opinion. That's totally okay. And so
Oh,
there's
yeah, let's look
one
at
more slide. There's another slide.
The last slide.
And if you can tell also, next to the ladder,
Mm-hmm.
in the back of the auditorium, in the doorway there appears to be a shadow there. Like it looks like the shadow of a man or a person or some sort of person.
Okay. Yeah.
in kind of the doorway there. There's a head and shoulders. I mean, like I said, anybody can interpret it or see it how they want, but there weren't any people out there. The person that was in there alone investigating and is on the stage at that time. So, yeah, very interesting.
I know we're getting a little bit close to the end of the show, so I want to make sure you give a chance to give out your website and tell people how they can, learn more, get involved. And
Yep, it's AlamedaParanormal.com. And I highly recommend anybody who has an opportunity come visit the USS Hornet, check it out, hop on our website. We do other events throughout the area, throughout the Bay Area. Actually, we travel all over the country and do investigations. And if something's in your area, if we're around, come out. It'll be a great time. It'll be fun to meet up with new people and learn stuff.
Oh, that sounds like your daughter.
It does sound like my daughter.
Yeah, she's making her debut appearance.
I wanted to. Hi, baby.
Uh-oh.
Hi, sweetie.
She must have been sleeping, huh?
Hi, sweetie pie. So this is my daughter, Corliss. And yeah.
I think our person who brought her on I think she might have woke her up a little bit there or something.
Yeah,
huh?
she's up way past her bedtime.
Yeah,
so
this is true.
It's a little tough for her, but she's
Yeah.
she's glad to be
Hi,
here.
Corliss.
Her father's in Oregon right now. He was supposed to help Ellis Bird.
Yes,
He was
yes.
supposed to help with this, and unfortunately, he wasn't able to.
Oh, why
Oh,
don't,
you're okay.
yeah, well, we'll go ahead and maybe we can, yeah, there we go. It's okay. It's all the camera lights.
Yeah.
Don't be stage fright.
So sleepy.
So,
So sleepy.
yeah, sleep. This show, we're actually taping it late at night, this particular show. So, yeah, Corliss is, we're so close to the end of the show. Why don't we go ahead and wrap things up? If you want to go ahead and take Corliss,
I will.
let
Thank
me help you
very
with
much.
her pacifier.
Thank you.
There you go.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
We'll
it.
go ahead and let you take Corliss. Bye, Corliss. Thank you for coming to the show. Well, with that, I guess since we're at the end of the show and my guest has walked away with her daughter, we might as well go ahead and end the show. And I would like to thank everybody here at the Media Center for all their work and effort and volunteer. I'd also like to remind everybody that you're welcome to go to our website, CosmicCafeShow.com. That's CosmicCafeShow.com to learn more about our guests, as well as if you didn't happen to catch their link, you can go ahead and learn, get the links on their bio page on the website. But Alameda Paranormal definitely has some great stuff that they're doing with the USS Hornet. And I tell you what, it's definitely very, very interesting to go there. I got a chance to go up there during one of their paranormal open houses. Actually, I was up there, to tell the truth, with the MUFON group that I also hang out with time to time. And Ruben Uriarte, as you know, he's been on the show several times. And so going up there to the Hornet and taking a tour through the Hornet. But after, I actually didn't know as much as I know now about what we have to see and learn there. And the first time I went up, I didn't bring camera equipment, I didn't bring sound equipment. So I'm thinking maybe this time I'll take some camera equipment and sound equipment from the studio, go back up there and maybe do a remote little segment for a future show with Cosmic Cafe. But I'd really like to thank Jenny Hosel for coming, and even though she's not here sitting next to me this time, I would like to thank her for coming, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in and watching the Cosmic Cafe show.